Hi guys. Oh, very good morning. So welcome back to our new session. Hope you all had a great week so far. So how do you feel right now, guys? Right, in terms of the cybersecurity learnings, right? Whatever we did from day one, um, starting off with Anand Guru till today. How do you feel about the course? Right, like, is do you think that your knowledge is getting transitioned? You are moving upwards in terms of the knowledge. At least you have got 8 to 10% of your knowledge. Entire syllabus is not covered. Of course, yes, within 4 weeks, we will not be able to cover the entire syllabus. As I said, so 80 to 90% of your basics plus advanced level knowledge, we can cover it up. But we see entire cybersecurity will take 2 to 3 years to complete. That much vast it is. What is required for your interview? That thing can be definitely be covered. And we are pretty much sure that we're gonna extend and we're gonna work around with gaining the extra knowledge as well. Okay. Yes, you can start preparing the CV right now, right? But by end of this week, I will let you know what are the do's and don'ts of a CV, right? So what are the do's and don'ts of a CV? What need to be included? What need not to include? So all those things can be known by the end of the week. Okay, so let's hop in into our analysis section today. Analysis is actually a wonderful part of your particular learning, guys. Why? Because why I will tell you. Basically, what will happen in the analysis section, this is a place where you open up and try to look at the things and explore and make the job much more interesting on that particular part. So, what is the difference between the policeman and us? Policeman will analyze each and every situation. When he gets record of a murder or when he gets record of a robbery, he will know how to analyze something and what to do for that and what not to do for that, right? In a similar manner, here as well, what we are trying to learn on this particular platform today is all related to first thing you need to keep it up in the mind that being a security analyst, we need to majorly focus on what we call altogether as how to look at or how to analyze a different situation. For example, in a murder situation, right? Our analysis is totally different. In a robbery situation, our analysis is different, right? At each and every phase, so these things will keep on changing on that particular part, right? And these things will keep on changing on that particular part of it. So that's the reason. So what we are trying to say is try to analyze each and every part, right? So first thing that we are going to learn today is all related to malware infection. Anyone think about like how does a malware enter into an organization? Because we have so many different security solutions in the place, right? So if a robber has to break through a bank, it is not easy, I think, because we know that bank is a highly secured one, right? We have so many layers of security deployed. We have a wall, we have a sensor, we have a camera, we have a watch person, we have a bigger gate. All those things are involved within that, right? So that's the reason. So breaking through a bank is not easier as we think, but still robberies will happen. right? So we need to think about which loophole that the robber has breakthrough and you were able to get through that particular area. So just like that, today in the first session, we are going to learn all related to how to handle a malware alert. How does a malware enter into an organization? Any guess? How does a malware enter? By social engineering, by email website, correct? Remember, these malware files are nothing but a well programmed or well designed piece of software, right? That tends to cause a malicious intention for a particular organizations, right? Either by copying the data or deleting the data, or it might be doing any such malicious entity is what we call them as a typical malware. Who is going to design this particular malware? The attacker, right? Usually what they will do, attackers will always try to design these kind of softwares or malware and try to give the different names to it and try to send it across multiple different types of companies, so that some users who are negligent in the organizations, right, usually they will try to send these kind of particular files to field engineers, field technicians, right, or it might be desktop or it might be any other different types of engineers who are least aware of the security part, so that they automatically fell for this particular trap. I'll explain one of the situation in my company which I handled and worked, right? Usually what happened, so that person was actually looking out for buying a television, right? So he was I think a lab technician in one of the company I worked. They have research lab. In that lab he was a technician, just a normal technician. He was having a plan to buy a television. We know that obviously we go to the Google and any different sites and just type for, okay, which television is the best and which television is best under 20K, 30K, 50K. We'll give that particular numbers to it. Then Google will start showing us the suggestions. Even if we come out of the Google Chrome also, still it will keep on showing us suggestions, right? Unfortunately, after 1 day or 2 day, he got an email saying that there is an offer running at so and so website. Here, all the branded TVs and all will be given at 50% discount. So, because these are the factory outlet sale, so which directly comes out of the factory without any retail thing. He thought like, okay, anyway, if I have a budget of 20-25K, and if it is coming up with 50%, and obviously it will be a much more lesser thing. It will be good for me. What he did, he unfortunately clicked on the link. Automatically, a file got downloaded in the backend. Right? Then there was a clear instruction wrote there. Okay, a file gets downloaded once you register on this. Please open up and look at it to see the terms and conditions of our buy. Okay, then he did the double click. He double clicked on that particular file, so it opened up. Okay, then he closed, and then there was another link that says, "Please fill up the details." He clicked on that one as well, and he gave all those personal links. So then afterwards, everything was working fine. So immediately his machine started showing high bandwidth consumption. There was a huge internet pulling up on that part. And a few alerts, different type of alerts came in from that particular machine as well to the SOC team. So just like trying to connect it to suspicious IP address, more amount of traffic observed, these kind of behavior alerts will came into picture. When we started investigating, so we saw that that was a piece of malware, right? So that file was a malware file, and he double clicked on it and it detonated the file, and that caused that malware execution. Immediately his system was removed from the network. That was sent for re-imaging on that particular part. So that's the reason what we do. So usually, so we need to be very aware of this. We being a SOC team, right? So we started off doing our analysis. Okay, from where did the file got downloaded? Okay, so then who downloaded it? Okay, so then what was the purpose for it? Try to communicate with the user. Then check the file hash, see what is the file behavior, take it into the sandbox. right? We did our own type of investigation to see what happened with this situation, right? To see what happened with this situation. So then, when we came to know the whole story behind this, okay, because you want to buy a TV and a television, and it was the fault of it, and he fell for that particular trap of offer. So what they saw and show in that particular email, right? So all those things were analyzed, and later, so there was a phishing campaign awareness. So that was organized for the entire company about these techniques. That's why, guys, nowadays even we were doing like all those what we call them as whenever you newly join an organization, they'll give all the security training. Anyone observe that one? Regardless of the domain, whatever the field you join or you get a job, they will ask you to complete these trainings actually. Please complete this training before we onboard you, right? And every year there will be a security awareness training, right? Like a new type of attacks and all from the SOC team or from the CISO or from a CTO. So they'll ask you to do that one because of this particular action itself, right? So this is one of the a short story like which we came to know in our experience about how a particular attacker will easily make the victims fall for the trap. Just think of it, guys. If a person in a company itself is able to do all those things, and just think of it, if people like you and we, who are a common man, who out of the organization, so if they're doing agriculture or if they're doing some business and all, if attackers are sending such kind of phishing emails to those people and making their bank accounts empty. Just think of it, what people can do. Because till now in the history, like there is nowhere where people give complaint against these same kind of cyber attacks and police caught them and they'll get their money back. No, nowhere. It is not possible in this software era. So that's the reason. So nowadays, cyber attacks are very much increasing because every one of us we are using this typical what we call them as mobile phones, right? Android or smartphones or whatever we are using it, and obviously, so that causes us to fall for the trap very much easier way, right? So right from the small kid till the grown up, so we are using all the smartphones and doing most of our job in the smartphones. It's very much easier for us to fall for the trap. Clear? Okay. So today we're gonna focus on how to analyze a malware alert. Let me share my screen. Okay. As I said, as I already gave an example of malware, malware is typically a malicious piece of software that has been designed by an attacker to do the malicious actions or an activities on the end user or the victim machine or the host of it, right? Usually, malware will try to enter into an organization by three different means, right? So these are the three main entry channels for a particular malware. First thing is by email. We know that every day thousands of email exchange will happen to and fro, right? So we get some emails, we send some emails, we share it, right? So that's why email is also one of the highway for an attacker to enter into an organization. Second thing is through website. On a work purpose or in our free time, we do visit multiple different sites for it, right? Sometimes we enter into our social engineering sites, or sometimes for work related thing, we keep on researching in the Google. We may end up into a malicious website as well. So that's why website is also one common type of entry channel for a particular attacker. Third one is all related to USB, right? Third one is related to USB. So usually, so we do have a habit of using the external storage drives, right? Like field technicians and all those people, they use this external drive to copy the file, share the file, and copy it to the any other different users. So all those things will be done by that particular what we call them as your phishing, sorry, by the USB ones, right? So that's why we need to carefully understand, okay, how the malware entered into organization. Remember, sometimes the malware detection will be happening, but it will not be able to delete it, right? Who is going to detect this malware? That is a very careful answer that you need to give, because sometimes people will just say firewall will detect it, or it might be or it might be IPS will detect this particular malware. The answer is no, right? You need to carefully be aware of what are the different, what we call them as the importance or the detections that that tool can make. For example, within a bike, maximum of 2 to 3 people can travel. If you are saying that within the bike I can travel 50 people, obviously people don't believe it, right? So that's the reason. So here also, when a malware so detection is happening, malware detection can be happen only with the help of antivirus or your particular what do you call them as your EDR solution, right? Antivirus or EDR, these are the only two tools who are capable enough to detect any such kind of malware or malicious files, right? This antivirus will be active and guarding all the time, right? If you have an antivirus installed on my end machine, that antivirus will be active 24 bar 7. You need not to click on it and start it. It will be automatically be running in the backend. It will just keep on monitoring. Okay, when you double click and open a file, when you copy a file, when you download a file, when you put it into a desktop, at all those conditions, it will just scan that particular file for malicious entities. It will try to scan that particular file for malicious entities. So that is how you're gonna what we call them as your antivirus will keep on active all the time at that particular moment of it. So then when the antivirus and EDR is active all the time, so then how does so detection will happening? How do we analyze or what are the different things that we do? Okay. So in terms of this particular malware alert, right? So in terms of this typical malware alert, so first thing, so what do we do is we need to gather the information first, right? Within the malware alert, we need to gather the information. Remember, while you are giving explanation to the interview, right? So keep these three things in mind, right? Your answering structure should be something like this. What all the information you gathered, what are the things you analyzed, and what are the recommendations that you give. Don't mix up all these three things together, because I have seen in my past interview experience, people will say like, yes sir, like we used to gather this information, then we recommend like this, we used to analyze like this, and then once again we used to collect this information. That doesn't make any sense to it, right? So that's the reason. So you need to answer in the order manner, in a skeptical manner, so that the receiver person will come to know, okay, what exactly you are trying to convey. So just like the police murdering, right? So our analysis and police investigations are much more relevant, guys, because what they will do when a crime scene happens, they don't directly start investigating and say who is the particular murderer or who is reasonable for it. First, they'll collect the information. Okay, is there any fingerprints that are available? What is the call history? What is the CC camera footage? How many people are there? What are their statements? All those things they'll record it first, right? Then they'll look for which is the weak point here, and from there they'll start investigating, and then they'll catch the convict. Just like that, here as well, whenever a malware gets detected, we need to collect all this information. Who is the host name the malware got infected? Who is the user, right? So what is the file name, right? Malware file name. Then what is the file path from where they are trying to enter? What is the malware name, right? So what is the malware category? What is the file hash and what is the file path from where the malware has been sitting? C drive, D drive, S drive, or it might be on the desktop, or it might be on the downloads folder. So where the malware is sitting in, we need to look for that particular file path as well. right? Then on the file hash, so then the malware name and category, we need to look out for all these particular information. So after this, so once we got all these information, once we gathered all these information, then we need to majorly check upon antivirus action. Sometimes malware antivirus will detect this particular malware, but it will not be able to delete it, because if the file is open, if the file is already in use, your antivirus will not be able to delete such kind of files, right? So that's why your investigational procedures will change when it is deleted, when it is not deleted. When it is deleted, so what we're gonna do? So identify the source of malware, right? First thing, we need to identify what is the source of malware. By looking at the file path, you will easily digest whether that particular file has how the file has entered. For example, if the file path says c slash chrome slash downloads, that's obvious that the malware has entered from the website itself. Sometimes if it says c slash email slash so users slash surya slash, right, so downloads, that means if it is from the email from the outlook, right, so even it will say c slash outlook slash download slash user slash surya, that means it is from the file which has been downloaded from this particular what we call them as your email on that particular part. Then, so check the possibility of the malware detection on USB as well, right? We need to see how the malware, if it says a D drive or external drive, automatically that means that malware has tried to enter through our external drive of it, right? So these are the three main important entry channels for a particular malware of it, right? So that's why we need to research about this particular malware and see how or from where the malware entered. So by looking at, by observing the file path, we can easily identify and say how the malware entered into organization. Then research on the malware to see if it is targeted. We need to check the category. Okay, is it a Trojan? Is it a worm? Is it a virus? What category of malware it belongs to? We need to check for that particular ones. Then check if the file hash appears elsewhere in the network. This is one more important thing. If the malware detection happened on our machine, that's fine. Is any other machines also got infected in a similar manner? We need to check for that particular ones as well, right? So that's how you gonna analyze and see from where and how the malware entered. In the recommendations section, so what do? We need to analyze to a next extent. We need to analyze through the logs as well. If it is in the email, you can see here. So take the permission and delete all the email from the sender or subject line. We need to see how the malware, right? So how the malware entered to the email. For that, we need to see to which all the emails that the user has visited, right? Check for the emails received by the user from last 2 to 4 hours, right? So which all the emails they have received. How means you need to go to the Splunk, check for index equals to bots is equal to source type equals to SMTP, then user equals to Surya, then time frame, set it for last 2 hours and click enter. Then all the mails that the user has received from past 2 hours will be available. Then you need to put a table command and see source and destination and subject, and you need to one by one put it into threat intelligence and see which one is malicious, which one is suspicious. We need to identify that suspicious or malicious one, and then we need to block such kind of sender, right? We need to block such kind of sender, and we need to take permission from the user and then delete that particular email itself from that particular inbox, because that's a phishing one. We need to explain the situation to the user, and then we need to ask them to delete that particular email from that particular inbox itself. Who is going to do that one? Your email security team is going to do that one, but you need to recommend doing that particular action. Second thing, if it is from the website, we need to look for all the DNS requests from the past 2 hours. Same manner, go to Splunk, type in index equals to bots SV2, then source type equals to stream DNS, user equals to Surya from last 4 hours, which all the websites that I have visited. Then take all those URLs, copy paste into online threat intel platform like VirusTotal or IBM XFE, and see which one is malicious, and then do the next set of actions. Afterwards, even we recommend that blocking that particular site. for all of us. We recommend it for our firewall team, saying that please block this particular URL because it is involved in spread of malware. We have already seen couple of infections from this particular URL, right? So then from the USB, we need to educate the user about the malware, right? So we intentionally like ask them not to inject such kind of malicious USB into the users, right? So that's what the major of the thing. So what we are going to do within that particular USB part of it, right? That's how you're going to handle it. See, when the malware is deleted, you need not to worry. When you create a ticket, it will be set under P3 or P4 priority, right? We need not to worry about it. It will be set under P3 or P4 part of it. If the malware is not deleted, if the malware is not deleted or quarantined, so at that particular time, it increases the urgency. That's an emergency case, guys, because malware has been detected, but it is not deleted. It is still alive in the network. It is still doing its job of malicious thing. Now it's time for us to act immediately. I don't have the entire time to do the analysis and then come back and say this is malicious because we need to act immediately. What we'll do is first create a ticket and assign it to the endpoint security team and then ask them to delete that particular malware first. Then we do the analysis, right? First, let's stop the malware first, restrict the damage first. Then we think about the analysis, how it entered, what happened, what not. We are going to think about that particular ones, right? So that's the reason the first and foremost action is raise an incident to the endpoint security team, give the basic details. This is the username, host name, and this is the file path. Delete this particular file. That's it. Then we start doing up the analysis. Okay, check the hash reputation, right? Check the designation of that particular user and see if he has done some changes in the active directory. Because if the malware is still sitting on that machine, that malware can do any sort of actions or any set of actions, right? So that's the reason you need to check for that one. Then observe the file path to know the entry point of that particular malware, to see to know how the malware entered into the organization, how it was downloaded. You need to check for that one, and continue doing the analysis and keep adding the notes to the incident, right? So we need to do all those steps what we did for our or not deleted condition. We need to do the same thing. So check how that malware entered, whether it was deleted or not. All those conditions we're gonna check within that particular part, and the only recommendation we give is manually remove the malware, right? So once we do all these analysis, right, we start documenting all these steps into our ticket, right? After the ticket, we assign it to the concern team. If the malware is entered through the mail, we assign this ticket to the email security team. Please go ahead and delete this particular malware file. Then we'll assign that to the endpoint security team to initiate a scan, to run an endpoint scan, to run the antivirus scan on that machine, right? If it is from the endpoint security team itself, directly we assign it to them and we'll ask the file to delete from that location, and we'll ask them to initiate a scan once again on that particular machine, right? So that's how the handling of a malware will be done through this particular machine, guys. Clear? Okay, that's a good question. How the attacker know that man looking for the TV with a range of 20K to 25K? Have you not experienced this one? So when you go to the Google Chrome and you search for something, when you just log in back to Facebook, when you just log in back to the YouTube, have you not seen that recommendations? It's all about the data, right? So your user data will be sold. It will be sold to multiple different organizations, right? So that's why they'll start showing that recommendations. If you go to the Flipkart, just browse for a particular product and come back. Everywhere on your mobile phone, you'll start seeing that particular product recommendations. You go to the Facebook, you see it. You go to Instagram, you see it. You go to YouTube, you'll be able to see it. You go to Google Chrome, it will show in the ad. How is that possible? You just did it in the Flipkart, right? That's what we call them as your cache memory, and all those sale and all those things will be happening out of it, right? So that's how the companies will come into picture. Many of us would have observed, and we agree for that, right? So you can check to now also. You just go and select for a particular product in the Flipkart or Amazon, right? Do spend some time for 5 minutes on that product. Come back, just come back. Don't never ever open that application. Still, everywhere you start seeing that recommendation, right? That's how it happens. Definitely yes. So nowadays, even if we speak, also we are able to see that as an ad on that part. So before SOC team got alert, and even endpoint security team have similar alert too. So no, Ravitej, monitoring will be done by the your SOC team itself, right? Why does the endpoint security team do that monitoring? Monitoring of the alert and all those things will be done by your endpoint security team. Oh, sorry, not by endpoint security team. It will be by the SOC team. We do monitor, and we ask the endpoint security team to follow up on this case. So some of our phones also listen all the time. Definitely yes. This won't happen in incognito. Not sure about it, but that's how we are addicted to the technology, right? When you just think everything right now, from the bank till ordering the food, everything is through online, right? So most of us are least bothered about it. We make online payment, but we are least bothered that our online payment details are recorded within that particular um, any of the third party applications that you use. And think of it, what it will happen to that. Clear? Any questions with respect to malware? Just take a minute of time and read this entire document, guys. So just read it. If you have any doubts, we're gonna discuss and we'll then proceed ahead. Just read up this document before we jumping into the next ones. Okay, I hope you guys read through the document. Can we proceed next? Okay, we have a few questions here. We need to monitor 24 hours. Yes, Kirti Kumar, but we don't know, right? Like when we are going to get a malware. Does attacker will give all those information, launch an attack? No, right? Whenever he wants to, he will do it. It's regardless of the time, date, day, holiday, weekend, government holiday, nothing matters. That's why we are 24 bar 7. Difference between Trojan worm and virus. Pretty much in a simple manner, I will say, but you can research about it. It's a very easy concept, Sandarsh. So Trojan acts as a backdoor, right, for a particular malware. All three are class of malware. Trojan acts as a backdoor. So worm, so they'll try to replicate itself without a human interaction. Virus is an unwanted piece of software, usually that will consume the bandwidth and the space. This is a key difference between the three. Is that payload and the malware are same. Payload is nothing but that's a malicious program. We call them as payload, right? Every packet we have two parts for it, right? Header part, payload part. Header is nothing but from which source to destination it is moving in. Payload is nothing but where the malicious program has been designed and written. What is pass the key attack? That comes under the attack section, not with the cyber, what you call them as analysis section. Prashant, just do some research on that part. How can we know that malware entered through USB? By looking at the file path, right? The file path will be say something like D drive, right? D colon slash, right? So copy slash user slash data, right? So by observing the file path, you will be able to see whether the malware entered through drive or by email or by website. Recently, in our organization, we received images containing malware. Okay. So that does that mean that you are able to get that malware infection or only malware related awareness? Which one is more dangerous, Trojan or worm? Both are dangerous. I think Trojan is much more. Deletion of email is possible through email gateway. Yes, Sandeep, that is possible through the email gateway, which your email security team is having access to, and they will be responsible for doing that particular activity. Who will do malware analysis as a SOC analyst? We will be assigned sandbox to do the analysis. See, sandbox is not a such a great technology to know, but however, I will explain. Sandbox is nothing but this is a dedicated space where you are going to do the particular type of analysis section. So here you are going to copy that particular malware, download that copy of malware into this particular sandbox environment, right? Sandbox, either nowadays we have many sort of online sandbox environment where you upload a file, they will give the report back to you, right? So just like any.run, right? So any.run is one of the particular online sandbox environment. If you just visit and upload a file, it will give the sandbox report out of it, right? So taking a malware into the sandbox is not easier because that file is very dangerous, right? So if you get the file, you need to carefully move into the sandbox environment. Sandbox will be having dedicated internet connection, dedicated internet, dedicated security solutions, right? All those measures will be there so that it will just check how the malware entered into that particular organization, right? So that's how the typical what we call them as the malware infection will be observed. through the sandbox environment. That report will say how that malware was behaving, where it was trying to connect, what action it was trying to perform, was it doing some any other actions of copying the data, deleting the data. All those things can be monitored through the sandbox. So I'm confused about host name. It will be the system name or domain name. Host name is nothing but is your machine name, right? System name, host name, both are the same thing, right? So domain name, we don't have something called as a domain name. We have something called as host name or system name. So host name, these are the two entities what you get to see. Are that we have MAC address. How to download the malware file for analysis? We don't do it. We'll be doing it in our online sandbox environment. You can send an email to the sandbox environment. From there, you can download that particular file. Okay. Check hash elsewhere in the network. That means if any other machines is having the similar type of detection, right? Check if any other type of machines is having similar type of detection. That's what we call them as. Check whether the file is sitting in any other different machines. Who will do the malware analysis? L2 or L3 will perform SOC analysis. Let's say here with the help of the EDR team. So it doesn't matter all the time. We don't do the malware analysis because some of the organization they have their own dedicated malware analysis team who will go through the deeper of the malware file and see how it has been designed, what code has it done, what programming has been done, how it hindered, what loophole was there. All those things will be done under malware analysis section, which necessarily malware analysis team will be doing it. Okay. So then in one of the other condition, we have something called as multiple malware detection as well. This is also one of the alert which you get to see right in many of the organization. What is this multiple malware? Any guess by looking at the name? Anyone try answering that one? Multiple malware, right? So the multiple malware detection mean that sometimes the user will download multiple files from the website, right? When the detection was made, we came to know that because of this multiple malware, right? So the much of the detections were made on that particular user machine out of it, right? So usually what will happen? This multiple malware, right? So the multiple malware, so will create what we call them as the bigger problem, right? So while you're downloading a file from the internet, if you download 2 to 3 files along on that one single go, and those things will create the particular malware or multiple malware detections out of it, right? So multiple malware is a case where so analysis still remains the same. It is a condition where 2 to 3 different malwares will be detected on a particular machine. Sometimes what will happen, we download a file and that file will be deleted by our antivirus. We again try to download the same file, right? Because we are least bothered about what is happening. I want to do my job. I want to get this particular software. That's it. I'm least bothered whether it's malware or not, or yes or no, because at that time, getting the work done is my main priority. When you download these multiple files and multiple detections are happening, automatically it will throw an alert saying that this is something suspicious or this is something malicious out of it. So that's what we call altogether as our malware infection, right? Or multiple malware infection. Analysis remains the same, but we need to check for the file path and see if the file path for all the malware detections are same. That means user has been continuously trying to download the file, and we need to delete all the particular files from that particular location and initiate a scan once again on that particular host machine, right? So that's what we call them as malware or multiple malware detections. So multiple malware is when a computer or system is network is infected with more than one type of malware, right? Yes. It is common in job description to know malware analysis. In that case, what is the expectation that hiring technical manager expecting us to answer, or what we should prepare for malware analysis? So, if you want to know the malware analysis in deeper, guys, so go to the YouTube, go for SOC Experts YouTube channel. There is a detailed course on malware analysis, because malware analysis is having two parts for it: static malware analysis, dynamic malware analysis. Both the things has been explained in the SOC Experts website in a detailed manner. Just go to the YouTube channel and look for that particular malware analysis site. You will be able to grab much of the knowledge. You'll be able to see so more of the information out of it. Clear? Any questions so far? Any questions? Okay. So speaking about right. So speaking about the questions in the interview, how are you going to get the questions in the interview regarding this? Do they ask you the direct questions, just like Surya explained about how do you handle a malware alert, or how do you handle multiple malware alert? Do they explain something like this? What are the different questions you might get? Because many of the time, right? So many of the time, people will get easily tricked when they look at the names. For example, if the questions are direct, what is a malware alert handling? How do you do that one? You'll be able to grab it. The same thing, if I twist and turn, obviously you'll get a little bit confused and worried about it because already you will be pressured in the interview. First thing, it's an interview. Your mind is in pressure. Second thing, out of which you will be in the great pressure where you need that I need this particular job badly. Second thing. Third thing is altogether it will say that the questions are trickier more. Your mind will not start grabbing the things. But don't worry, guys. Whenever you are going for the interview, whenever you get a question, don't try to answer in the hurry burry. I've seen most of them. Most of them, what they will do, they will try to finish off the answer as soon as possible and keep quiet and get that sense of feeling that yes, I have done it, I'm able to achieve it, right? So that's the reason. So what we are trying to convey here is while you get these kind of questions, for example, they will say you get hundreds of malware alerts at a time. How are you going to handle? The answer is very much easier. Yes, when I get hundreds of malware alert, first thing I will just check whether all those 100 detections are on the same user, are on the same file. Then I'll merge all the use cases under one single thing, and then I will continue doing my analysis. If it is on the different files and different user, then obviously I need to check on the particular playbook. Second thing, and then I need to check on the particular priority of it, whether it's a P1, P2, P3, P4, then I need to do that one. Right? If it is a P1, I will take it up first. P2, I will take it up second. P3, P4, then I will do that particular analysis. That's how I'm going to do that one. Third step, it will say, consider, Surya, you are alone working in the night shift. There is a file which says it's malicious and not deleted. How do you going to handle this one? Right? These are all some tricky questions. Rather than asking if a malware detected and not deleted, what do you do? They will put some scenario to it. Right? It's as good as a movie and a script, right? Most of you have observed the script of a movie doesn't have any value, right? Because if I read a script, I don't know what it says. I don't know. I don't get as thrilled as I watch a movie. When you watch a movie, when you put some characters to it, it will be fantastic. So likewise, while you go for the interview, this is how the tricky questions you face. Right? Don't think that tomorrow, sir, these things are not taught in the class. We are not aware of this. No, you are already aware of this. You need to just think which one you need to connect the point and you need to answer. They will say you get a particular detection which says one of the user, right? So has downloaded a particular file from an email who says it's from one of their client, right? But after downloading that particular file, his machine started behaving weirdly. What was the reason behind that? You need to just say that file might be a malware because of that particular downloading of that one. So it has started causing that particular issue out of it, right? That's how you need to correlate. Usually, interviewers will just try to trick it off on that part, right? They just want you to catch that particular point and answer it back, right? However, calmly, when you need to think about the question, okay, user has downloaded a particular file, that means it's obviously malware. Then you need to think that afterwards it started behaving weirdly. Then you need to just check what was the reason, what are the running programs, what are the running applications on that machine, right? What are the running process on that machine? You need to check through sysmon, right? System monitor tool. So you use a tool and see which are the running system running process on that machine, right? So that's how you can correlate your particular questions out of it. Clear? Any more questions right now with respect to malware and its, see, the use cases might be different, guys. Different companies will call by different name, right? So malware detected by your antivirus, malware behavior observed. These are the few different alert names, right? So which you get to see, right? But if you know the underlying logic behind that one, what to do, what not to, that is sufficient. Because as I said, tools might be different, their UI might be different, but their logic still remains the same. That you need to keep that thing in the mind. As a SOC analyst, can we ask for approval to get access to user computer for malware infection? As Ken pointed me to check it. What do you do? Even if you get an access, what are you going to check, Ravindra? Tell me that point. Consider you get an access. What are you going to do? Nothing, right? So what you can do, you cannot open the file and make the particular infection and all those things. That is not possible, right? So that's about for our today's session. We're going to discuss the answers for our questions, what we got from this Splunk guys. Okay. Tomorrow we're going to learn about all related to what we call them as our phishing email analysis and other type of analysis questions as well. Tomorrow we're gonna learn about that particular aspect. Clear? Let's discuss the answers for our queries, right? So what we shared from this plug. Anyone wants to answer the question number one? Let me just open up the cheat sheet for it. Where is the task list? Okay, Got it. So what is the first query that we have got? Let me share my screen. Hope you guys can see my screen. Go back, click on implementing the APT, copy. What is the first question, guys? Anyone? So the first question says, how many Apache web server logs are collected in Splunk? Right. So before that one, there is a query for that one. You need to set the particular time range, right? So it has been clearly mentioned for it. Set the time range between August 1st. Okay. Set the time range. Hide it. Date and time range. Make it between. Come over here. Make it 1st August. 1st August 2017. Right. 1st August 2017 to 5th August 2017. Right. So, okay, sorry. Now it's correct, right? So first thing, so you need to get that particular time range set for the first 5 queries. Set that particular time range and then click on the apply button, right? Once it is applied, you need to search for it. How many Apache web server logs are collected in the Splunk? We just need how many Apache logs are available. Any answer? Anyone tried? Index equals to bots sv2, vendor equals to Apache. Okay. Source type Apache, stats count. Okay. So you need not to do stats and all, but you can just go with source type command, right? Just type in source type equals to access underscore combined, right? Even if you enter this command also, so that should give the particular answer to you, right? Why? Because access combined is also a type of Apache logs itself, right? So if not, you can give the Apache logs as well. Some of you have tried that one as well. So Apache, right? So source type equals to Apache. Even that answer is also the correct ones for you, right? So you are in the right condition. So there are two different answers for this. One thing, source step equals to access combined or source step equals to Apache. Both of the things are the right answers for the task number 1. So task number 2, right? So task number 2 speaks about which IP address has communicated with the web server the most. Any answers for this? Which IP address has communicated with the web server the most? What is the count? Index equals to bots is way to star IP star top limit equals to 20 source IP. Relatively correct. Okay, so I think Manoj has relatively answered. Right, so let me type source type equals to access combined. I'll put right top client IP. Right, see, the question majorly speaks about which IP address has communicated with the web server the most. That means top command will come into picture, right? What is the count? Obviously, it will be giving that particular information to gather out of it. So that's why source type equals to access combined pipeline top client IP will answer your particular query out of it, right? So 20 is not required, Manoj, but your answer is correct. You can see here automatically the count is available, right? Even in the question also it asks for what is the count. You can give the first value out of it, right? So this is how the answer for the second type of particular question is all related to. Third one, how many total bytes has the IP address downloaded from our server, right? So how many total bytes has the IP address 104.180.167.55 downloaded from our particular server? What is the answer? First thing, we'll go with bits and pieces. First thing, Apache logs. Just click enter. That is fine for us. Then select the client IP. Okay, client IP equals to 104.180.167.55, right? First thing, we just get the particular ones, right? So from this particular client IP address, then they're asking for total amount of data that has downloaded, right? Who has downloaded the most for that particular thing. So we can go with stats command because that will give the statistical value of count, right? Stats sum of bytes, right? What is the sum of bytes? Nothing but downloaded count, because amount of download is always measured by bytes itself, correct? So it's not 500 bytes, 600 bytes. We'll measure by bytes first. That's why we'll give that particular sum of bytes. Click enter. Why is it 0? Let's just check for that one. How many total bytes has the IP address? Have I given the IP address correct? 104.180.167.55. IP address is correct. So this is how we need to troubleshoot the particular answer. Stats sum of bytes. Okay, you can see the mistake here, guys. Client IIP, right? So this is an error. That's why this won't give the particular result. You can see here, this is the answer, right? 39214841. This is the answer for our third question, right? This is the answer for our third question. Okay, so fourth question is all related to what are the different HTTP status code captured in the logs for the source type. See, you need to just think through the mind. Okay, for the source type, access combined. Then first part of it will remain the same. Source type equals to access combined. Leave it here. What are the different HTTP status code captured in the logs? Right? What are the different HTTP status code that has been captured? Then we need to just go with stats values. Why? Because I need different values, right? With respect to HTTP commands, how many times it has occurred. Even I need that statistical answer as well. That's why I'm going for stats. If the answer was only what are the different codes that are available, then obviously we can just go with the table command. Table all those status code. That is also fine. That is also will give you the answer of it. You can see here. These are this different status value that are available with this HTTP commands or codes out of it. right? So as I said, if I require only the tabular format, I would have went for table command, right? Because table will also will give that particular information. Let's just check. You can see here, even this will also give us the answer for that particular ones, right? 200, 302, 304, 403, 404. Even this will also will suffice our answers through that particular ones, right? So the next query is, which file has been accessed the least on the web server? Which file has been accessed the least on the web server, right? When you just get this question, least accessed, obviously it will be the rare command. Obviously it will be the rare command what we get. We just go with rare space file and just click enter. Automatically you will be getting the answer that this is the least accessed file of it. Source type equals to access combined rare file. You need to wait till the search to complete. The first one, which it comes on the top, will be the least accessed file of it. Getting the answers, guys? Why are we avoiding the usage of index command? Because here it's only the one index which is present, Syed. I know that this question is going to come because in your this particular Splunk, you have only one indexer. If you type or not, the logs will be flowing from that indexer itself. But in the company, we'll be having multiple indexers. That's why we need to mix and match of all those. Clear? Do you want me to answer the next five questions, or you want to give it a try once again, and we're going to discuss in our tomorrow session? How do you want to do that one? Yes, that's a correct one, Jamal. Are you going to try, or you want me to answer the rest five? Okay, give it a try. I would recommend that one because right now at least you got an idea of how to answer these questions, right? So for try it and discuss in the group as well, right? I'll try to share answers in the group. Even if my part of the sessions are over, also don't worry, guys. I'll help you out once again, right? So you can just try to do that one. Okay. Thank you. Have a good rest of the day then. Tomorrow we'll meet with the discussion of a phishing email analysis along with other type of analysis as well, right? So any other type of analysis we will discuss in our tomorrow session along with that. Okay. Thank you. We'll meet tomorrow, guys. Have a good day. Bye bye.